I'm happy to share with you something that has been super inspirational to me lately. And what I wanted to share with you today is the universal laws. And the universal laws are like, whether or not you believe in them, they exist regardless of your beliefs. It's like the gravity, right? Whether or not you believe in gravity, if you go on the roof of a building and you jump off the roof, most likely you're going to die or you're going to injure yourself because you'll fall down and the law of gravity will pull you down to the earth. It's something like that. What else do I need to say about the universal laws? Everything in this universe is perfect. Every single molecule, every single atom, every single drop in the ocean, every planet in this universe is in its correct place and is operating according to certain laws. And those are the universal laws. And if we, another way of saying it, those are the laws of nature. And if we learn about these laws and we learn to live our lives in harmony with those laws, and we'll learn to consciously make our choices based on those laws, then it is my deepest belief that we all can create the life of our dreams. So let me give you example. I am currently at La Selvella, which is a really amazing agriturismo here in Tuscany. And I don't know if you've read my previous post, but the divine grace of God, out of thousands and thousands of agriturismos in Tuscany, the universe has led me to this particular agriturismo where I met a woman who happens to be the granddaughter of my grandfather from his first marriage. I never even knew about her existence. In a million years, I would have never, ever guessed that the universe would bring us to this agriturismo where my cousin lives. So that's in its own an amazing story that one of these days I will have a session about. I'm still processing and I'm still in shock of what happened. But anyway, so I'm here on this agriturismo, and being on earth and learning about farmers is giving me a completely different perspective on the universal laws or the laws of nature. So as it turns out, my cousin owns 78 hectares of land here, and they alternate the fields. So they're huge fields, and every year they alternate crops on those fields. And when I asked her, like, look, it sounds like a tremendous amount of work. How many people you have working here? And she says, it's 6 of us. And I said, well, how can you guys, 6 of you, work the 78 hectares of land? It seems like impossible to me. So as it turns out that if you correctly plant a correct crop in correct year, then Mother Nature or the universe does its own work. And literally all you do is you plant the seeds, then you literally have nothing else to do. And in the fall, all you do is you collect the harvest. So Mother Nature does all the work. And the key is to plant correct seeds in correct season, working together in harmony with nature. So, and as a result, not only do they have these beautifully manicured landscapes in Tuscany, the most beautiful places on earth, in my opinion. They also have really great agriculture. And as a result, we all get to enjoy this really delicious, amazing food here in Italy. So everything works together with nature. And I thought that was a really amazing metaphor for the topic of our call today. So it is my deepest belief that when we create, or when we consciously create our life in harmony with these basic universal laws, then living the life of our dreams becomes effortless. It becomes easy. Mother Nature, the universe, does the work, and all you do is you consciously plant the seeds. You think up of your dreams and ideas, and you identify what your heart's desires are, and then the universe meets you halfway, and you step into the flow of energy, the flow of ease, the flow of abundance, the flow of blessings, and then you reap the benefits of your tremendous great work. I hope this makes sense. So let me just go ahead and start. So the very basic law of the universe, or the greatest law there is that everything in the universe is energy. So as you know, our bodies are made up of billions and billions of molecules and atoms. And if you were to, even though if you look at your hand, it looks like it's solid, but if you were to look at your hand under a massive microscope, then you will see that your hand is actually made up of billions and billions of molecules and atoms and different little parts. Even if you were to look at this table, even though it seems like it's solid, if you were to look under a massive microscope, you will see that the table is made out of molecules and atoms, and they're all vibrating. And when the atoms and the molecules are vibrating, they're moving, they create energy. So everything in this world is made out of energy. So how is this relevant to creating the life of our dreams? So in order for any energy to thrive, to expand, to grow, to get stronger, it needs to flow. So when you step into the energy of flow, that's when you step into the energy of ease and abundance and blessings and creativity, and everything becomes effortless and you feel really good about everything. So if you watched my previous sessions about money, we talked about stepping into the flow of money, right? A lot of times we create these glitches where the energy is not flowing by having a really limiting beliefs, or we have the energy of lack or not enough, or worries and fears around finances and money and providing and having enough. So all of those glitches, they prevent from the energy of flow. And in order for the money to flow in your life, just like any energy, it needs to be in circulation. So money is meant to be enjoyed, it meant to be spent, and it meant to be used up. Like it meant to be in circulation. Does it make sense? So if you watched my money mentality sessions, I talked about having different little rituals, right? I told you that every time I pay for something, every time I swipe a credit card, every time I pay an online bill, I say a little prayer. I say, thank you, universe, for giving me this abundance. Thank you that I can pay for this wonderful dinner, or thank you that I can afford and buy these awesome toys for my children. And thank you for this money coming back to me. And that's when I do my magic and I add extra zeros. So if I'm spending $100, maybe I'll add 3 more zeros in my mind, and I get really excited because, you know, I anticipate and expect $100,000 to come back to me. And this is just a silly example of how I step into the flow and how I create this inner ritual of enjoying spending money, because it wasn't always the case for me. I used to get really stressed out and uptight about money. So doing little things like that helps me to open up the flow of money, to anticipate and get excited about money coming back to me. So let's talk about, and in these sessions, by the way, I'll talk about 3 major areas of our lives, which is our health, our love life, our relationships, and our money. So if anything in the universe is made out of energy, and energy is meant to flow, then you can think about it in terms of, let's say, love, right? If in the past somebody broke your heart or hurt you, it is likely that your heart is broken, and as a result, you have built the walls around your heart, like the guards. And because of those walls, so to speak, energetically, metaphorically speaking, the energy is not flowing. So even though you may want to be in a thriving and happy relationship, you may be wanting to be open to meet the man of your dreams or the woman of your dreams, on the subconscious level, on energetic level, if your heart is guarded and you're closed off from love, the energy is not flowing. So it will be very difficult not only to meet the person of your dreams, but also when you do meet that person, it will be very difficult for you to recognize that, the possibility of starting and building a thriving relationship with that person. I mean, I'm talking about very simplified terms, and I hope that through simplicity, you can understand the main points that I'm trying to bring across. The same with health, right? If we have a healthy, strong body, the energy is flowing through our body. So many of you know me from the world of yoga. Many of you have gone through our teacher training. We talk about energy, running energy. And in a healthy body, the energy flows freely and openly. Whenever somebody gets sick, whenever there is a disease in the body, the energy stops flowing freely through that area. So in our yoga teacher trainings, we talked about like running energy to help somebody heal physically, and even, energetic healing as well. So the bottom line is, the most important point is, everything in the universe is energy, and the energy needs to flow freely and openly for that energy to thrive and expand. What I need to add here also is that our thoughts also have energy. So everything in this universe, certain things that we can't see, like in the physical world, we can see a pen. And there are also certain things in our universe, the energy that we cannot see. We cannot touch, we cannot feel, or, like feel with the touch, like radio waves, right? They exist as energy, but we cannot see that energy and we cannot touch that energy. Or the sound waves, right? That energy exists, yet we cannot see it. So when we talk in the language of manifesting the life, of our dreams into reality, it all starts with our thoughts. Our thoughts also have energy. And as a matter of fact, our thoughts have the highest vibration of energy. And because that vibration is so high, that is why our thoughts are so powerful. That is why our thoughts, our inner state, the way we look at the world, the way we perceive the world, the way we think, has such a tremendous power to attract things into our lives, and eventually our thoughts materialize into physical things, right? So in the language of manifesting, the universe doesn't understand I want this or I don't want this. The universe only understands the essence of whatever it is that you're thinking about. So if you're worried about not having enough money, or you're worried you don't want not having money, but the universe only hears the lack of money, so to speak. So if you're constantly worried about not having enough, if you're constantly focused on the lack, the universe will just give you more lack. Does that make sense? If you're worried that something awful will happen, and as a matter of fact, you don't want it to happen, but the universe only hears the essence of whatever it is that you're thinking about. And because your thoughts have such a high vibration and they're so powerful, essentially that's what you're attracting into your life. I'm simplifying this. And as we go through our video sessions in the upcoming weeks, and as you learn about more universal laws, hopefully it will make sense for you. And also please know that all the universal laws work together. It's not like one works separately from the other. They all work together. So we'll start with the basic premise that everything is energy. Energy needs to flow. And everything is vibrating. And our thoughts have the most powerful potency to attract whatever it is that we focus on into our life, and eventually those things will materialize into the reality. So the first law that we'll talk about today is the law of cause and effect. And, it sounds really easy, right? For every, or the cause and consequence. For every consequence, there is a cause, and for every cause, there is consequence. So, this can be applied to any area of your life. When I was younger and I was less wise, I guess, less intelligent, I used to think that some people are just lucky. I thought that, well, look at this beautiful, healthy, happy woman in a happy marriage. She's just so lucky, And as I got older, as I got wiser, I now understand that it's not just luck, not lack. It's not just being lucky. It's actually every consequence. For every consequence, there is a cause. So if I see a healthy, attractive person now, I know that what it takes to be healthy and attractive. That person is most likely working out every single day. That person is most likely has a very clean diet. That person is most likely taking care of their body, of their appearance, of everything. They focus on having good thoughts, positive thoughts. They meditate. So in other words, being good looking and healthy doesn't just happen. You have to work at it. The same thing with, being wealthy and successful. The old me used to think, oh, look at that person. He's just so wealthy and so rich and just so lucky. Now I understand that being successful and wealthy is a consequence from that person spending a tremendous amount of energy, time, efforts on, building that success and building that knowledge and that wealth and prosperity. I guarantee you that person probably spent a lot of time either acquiring the knowledge or building and starting and building their business or building their career. In other words, you don't necessarily just wake up like this, although I wish it was that easy. What I do know that the more great work you put out there, the easier it becomes. So in other words, from my personal life, for the last 10 years, Roger and I, my husband and I, spend every single waking second of our lives, every single day, every single moment of our lives, growing, focusing on expanding our business. And as a result, our first business, Yoga One, was a thriving business. But what very few people know is that we used to work 24/7, never having days off, working around the clock, not spending time with our children, with each other. But that's what it took to build a successful company. So then we sold this company as a result, as a consequence from that outstanding work. Now we get to spend a year traveling around the world with our children, enjoying our lives and just resting and nourishing our bodies and our minds. So it didn't just happen. We didn't just wake up and uprooted and took off around the world. So what else do I need to say about this? So the law of cause and effect. Let me look at my notes to make sure that I'm not missing anything. Yes, I remember now. So there is one more thing that I need to say right now, is that everything that you have and everything that you are experiencing in this moment of your life is a consequence of your prior way of thinking. So whatever you have in your life is a consequence of your prior way of thinking. So there is a little bit of a lag time, right? Thank God there is a lag time. Otherwise, if our wishes were materialized instantaneously, that would be a little bit scary. So in other words, another way of saying this is if you want your life to change, if you want your circumstances to change, then you need to first transform the way you think, because everything starts with your thoughts. Anything that was ever created in the human history, it all started with somebody thinking up of that. Imagination, say it, putting a man on the moon, creating a rocket, whatever you want to talk about, creating an automobile, creating a light bulb, all of that started with somebody thinking of that first. So in your life, in a similar way, whatever your current circumstances are, your circumstances are the result of your way of thinking. So if you want your circumstances to change, you must change the way you think. Okay, what else I need to say is that the law of cause and effect and the law of energy flowing and expanding is that the more you give away, the more you receive. It's like the energy circulating. If you give away your attention, if you give away your love, if you give away your kindness, your compassion, you will receive more love, compassion, kindness in return. I mean, if you take any major religion of the world, it will tell you the same basic law. So similarly, if you if you spend time gossiping, if you spend time thinking negative thoughts, if you cause pain on somebody else, the law of cause and effect, at some point, that energy will also come back to you. You want to call it a karmic law, whatever you want to call it. I mean, there are ways to clear out your karma by repenting, by asking for forgiveness and things like that. And the basic law remains, the law of cause and effect. Whatever you give away, whatever you put out there into the universe, it will come back to you. Oh, another one, it's my favorite. I made notes here. Rumi said once, what you seek is seeking you. And I think it's so true. What you seek is seeking you. So the success, the love, the prosperity that you seek, just have the trust and have the faith that love, prosperity, money, abundance, creativity, whatever it is that you're seeking is also seeking you. And that's also the law of the universe, the law of attraction, right? You magnetize, you attract whatever it is that you think about, whatever it is that you focus on. Okay, so the next thing that I want to talk to you about is the prosperity consciousness. So as you know, I come from the former Soviet Union, and I'm a very, very practical person. All those things that we talk about, those can be like new agey, spiritual, la la land things, those are all great. And, a part of me, I'm very, very practical. I'm like, show me how I can apply these big spiritual ideas into my everyday life, and show me how I can create the life of my dreams. So here is an example. I'm going to post some journaling questions for you. I recommend journaling every day. I wake up at the crack of dawn at 5 a.m. every morning, and I spend at least 30 minutes every day journaling. And whenever you're journaling, asking correct questions is very important. So I'm going to post some questions that will help you journal and funnel your thoughts in a correct direction within the topic of this universal laws. And what I want to talk to you about is the prosperity consciousness. And what I want to talk to you about is, remember how I said everything starts in your mind, everything starts in your inner state. Whatever it is that you think, whatever it is that you focus on, whatever it is that you feel, right? God, the universe gave us all these gifts. We can see, we can think, we can touch, we can taste, we can feel. All of those are gifts from God. So whenever you use all of our gifts, you can manifest whatever it is that you want in your life. So a big part of it is changing the way you think about money. And you can apply it to love and health the same way. But today I'll focus on money when I talk about prosperity consciousness, and how do you step into the flow of prosperity? How do you step into the flow of abundance? How do you transform the way you think and you feel about money so that you can become a magnet for money? So I didn't come up with this. I learned this game. It's called Prosperity Game, and I learned it from Abraham Hicks. So anything that I share with you guys, I always do that first because I want to experiment it on me. And when I played that game, I have to say that I felt the shift. I felt like different parts of my brain that turned on. I just felt like this energetic and emotional shift, like the way I was feeling as I was playing this game. So from my experience, I can tell you that for sure this game, if you do it every day, if you play according to the rules, it literally expands your consciousness. It expands your prosperity consciousness, so that when that prosperity consciousness expands within you, then you become a magnet for wealth, a magnet for money. So are you ready? Are you ready to learn about this game? So the prosperity game goes like this. You imagine, remember, everything that we have created as a humankind, it started with a thought. It started with somebody's imagination. So every day you imagine receiving a check from the universe. If you prefer cash, you can imagine that you're receiving a certain amount of money from the universe. So let's say today I'm receiving $1,000 from the universe. And the game goes like this. You write down, thank you, universe, for giving me $1,000 today. And then you write down everything that you're going to spend that $1,000 today. The main point is you spend all of that money today. Tomorrow, you double that money. So tomorrow you receive $2,000 from the universe, and you say, thank you, universe, for $2,000. And then you write down what you're going to spend that money on that day. The following day, you receive $4,000 from the universe, and similarly, you write down everything that you spend your money on. Now, the main point of this game is that you feel all the feelings. You get excited about, living in abundance. You get excited about this pleasure that you're experiencing by buying certain things, or having experience with your family, with your loved ones that you can buy with this money. And the most important part, once you start feeling the feelings, that's when you become the magnet for wealth. There are certain rules, and the rules are that you cannot give that money to somebody else, because when you give that money to somebody else, then in a sense you're saying, the universe doesn't work for that person, it works only for me. Now, the law is that, the truth is that everybody has access to the prosperity and abundance of the universe. Everybody has access to wealth. And if you say, well, I give this money to my mom, or I give this money to my friend, then you're saying that that person doesn't have access to that wealth. So the money that you get from the universe, you spend it on the same day, and you cannot give it to another person. And B, you cannot save that money because it assumes that you don't believe in the abundance of the universe. So you cannot save the money for a rainy day. You just got to spend it. Now, you can put aside that money for a bigger purchase. Let's say, for example, if today I receive $16,000 and I decide that $15,000 out of that money, I'm going to put aside to purchase a house of my dreams. You can do that. You can do that. You can put aside money for bigger purchases. So it's a game play. I played for a month, and that was really fun to play with the millions. I got to millions, and it's literally was testing my imagination. What else can I spend the money on, and how am I gonna feel when I have that kind of abundance in my life? And I felt my consciousness expanding, and that's the point of the game. So you step into the prosperity consciousness, You become comfortable with money. You feel all the feelings of gratitude and joy and excitement of having that kind of abundance in your life. So enjoy playing that game. Please, post on our Facebook group. Tell me what your experience is with the game. Remember, the point of it is to expand your consciousness and feel all the feelings of abundance and wealth.